technological skills. That's
How did that happen?
The picture goes weird for a sec. Now it's fine.
Oh, okay.
You're recording. Okay. So, tell me what's going on for you guys, because do you want a little general read first?
Yeah.
Or straight? Yeah. Okay.
No.
So tell
Can
me
you see me good?
on, what you'd like me to read on.
Well, a general reading. I have recently had oodles of health issues, which rendered me not walking for 3 years. I had to retire, blah, blah, blah. And now I'm to the point where I am walking, taking physical therapy, on the proper medication, but I'm also going to be turning 69 in a couple of weeks. And I'm thinking now I'm so healthy and I've got so much energy. The world is my oyster type of thing.
Yeah, what a great story. Before we go any further, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
So you're wondering, what should I do now?
You and Linda and David have changed my life. You and Linda and David have changed my life. When I couldn't walk and I was laying flat, which I did for almost a year because it was so miserable, you kept me alive.
Oh, wow, that so warms my heart.
I love all of you, but I especially love your intellect, your political savvy, and all of your comments on everything so much. I mean, I feel like we are such heart sisters in so many ways that when we both die, our spirits will go up there and say, oh, thank you for
Hi, Faye. That's right. And isn't Dave amazing?
Yeah.
He's a treasure too.
Yeah.
And we've kept each other sane during all this too. You know, one or other of us would ring up and go, what the fuck's going on? You know, it's all right, it's all right.
Without some reality, which you three gave me, it would have been, I would have thought the whole world had turned on its head. But no, you three kept saying, this is not normal.
Yeah, right.
Oh my.
And it was crazy, and it is crazy. And, you know, who would have thought that someone could just, what we didn't realize, any of us, I think, is that so much of what we think is law is actually just an agreement.
Yeah, yeah.
You know.
And we almost lost it. Yeah.
It came this close.
Yeah.
Just little resistance pockets here and there, like Stacey Abrams standing up, or some accidental discovery of something, or one person in some state legislature voted against some certain thing. Each of those things kind of led to this path of preventing this from being worse.
Yeah, for sure. And Biden, you have to say, is the man for the hour. You know, like, bless him for that.
Wonderful, wonderful to have him. By the way, this is Bill, my partner.
Hi.
It took me 3 times around to get the best one.
But you got there in the end.
I did.
Third time's the charm, they say.
That's so funny.
Oh my gosh, I'm still on like this high. I can't believe I'm talking to my hero in there.
That's such a joy. Hold on. I'm just having a fiddle here with the volume. Okay, so let's have a look for what you should be thinking about and doing now. Now you're healthy again. That's such a wonderful story.
Oh, I did not expect to have this again. I really did not.
No.
But now I'm thinking, damn, I'm going to keep living and I'm going to be strong.
Yeah, fantastic. Fantastic. So fabulous. Let's look. So let's have a look at that. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pull a few cards first, because that helps warm me up and tune me in before we get to more detailed questions. Right? So, oh, how nice. Okay, these are big cards. Big cards. So what I mean by that, I've only pulled 5 cards and 3 are major arcana cards.
Oh.
Right? So when you think there's 78 cards in the deck and only 22 are major arcana, that's quite amazing in itself. So no surprises here, but it is big in itself. Right in the center, this is you now with the Sun card. It's so fantastic. It is so fantastic. Behind you, I'm pleased to report it's behind, that was your tower. That's when you thought you'd never walk again. That's when you thought it was all over, right?
Yeah.
Nothing short of the tower.
Yeah.
But I'm thrilled to report it's in the past position, so there's no problems with it. You have come through your tower. The sun up. Now, on top, the death card in the best possible way and the best possible position too. Same thing. This is shedding your skin, you know, for a brand new day.
Yeah.
This isn't just, oh, I'm moving on now. I used to do pottery and now I'm doing watercolors. This isn't that sort of change. This is major change.
Wow.
And it's ruled by Scorpio. And I'm not an astrologer, but I do know a few things. Scorpio gets a bad rap, right? In the sense that, oh, people go, oh, you know, Scorpios are so manipulative or whatever. And it's so unfair, as if other people aren't manipulative or whatever. You know what I mean? So Scorpios carry the bag for things. So if you can see my arm, you can see this is a high-tech thing here, right? Every major arcana card has a low vibration end all the way to its most exalted and its most sort of sophisticated meaning. So we look for where it sits in that, right?
Wow.
Yeah. So what you're looking at, I'm using this example for Scorpio. So at the low end, it can be bitching and moaning and carrying on and doo-doo. At its highest end, these are the healers, the most transformative healers and shamans and stuff are often Scorpios because they understand this stuff, the heavy stuff, the life and death stuff, the need for really, really deep transformation.
Yep.
Yeah?
Yep, that is me.
Yeah. So what you've been through means you've sort of just shot up, you know, in terms of your level of what you can do.
Wow.
Do you see what I mean?
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah, it's major. Okay, so what we've got here is underneath it all, yeah, you said you had to do it 3 times to get it right. Beautiful connection between you guys, right?
Mm-hmm.
Just gorgeous.
Very true.
And I would venture to say soulmates. It's not a term I use a lot because everyone sort of thinks whoever they're with is their soulmate until they're not. You know?
Yeah, exactly.
You know, oh, I've met him, you know. Okay, so I rarely go there with that term, but for you, it's absolutely the case. And here you are, Faye, coming out, which is what the question is about, the Queen of Wands. So what do we know about the Queen of Wands? She's a very practical queen, so is the Queen of Pentacles, but Wands has this drive, and that's what you're sort of craving at the moment. You're going, give me the work, give me the work. I want it, you know?
Yeah.
That's that Queen of Wands drive to help others.
Yes, it is.
Okay? And there is the fire in the belly about this. But also she's got the black cat.
Yeah. I don't know what that
so that's the woo-woo side
of
the Queen of Wands, which is now you've been through this experience, and most shamans will tell you that they have a near-death experience or you're like, are blind for some period of time and then work it out, or in your case can't work. You've moved into a seriously high level with this Queen.
Wow.
So it's up to us to try and find the most productive sort of path and way to handle all this energy that you have earned. It hasn't come from nothing, right? You've earned it. Yeah?
Yep, that's very true.
It's so true. So, I just saw the Old Soul Tarot
Oh,
behind you.
yeah.
Totally.
I'm nothing like you, but people that do tap into me really like what I've got, but I'm nothing. There's no similarity.
Yeah, but we all come with our different tool bags and our different skills, and you, I'm sure, are really reassuring for people.
And gentle, very gentle.
Yeah.
And my career has
Because,
been a social worker.
yeah,
So,
you've
yeah,
seen it all go down.
yeah.
You've seen it all go down. And so now you've come to this spot in life. And I've got to say at this point, 69, I'm 66 this year, right? We're in the same ballpark here.
Yeah.
We're the first generation of women to have had careers, first of all, even if they're alternative careers, they're careers in a way that women just couldn't before. So retirement's different, right? It used to always be confronting for men. They might be blue collar workers who counting down the days till they retired, but a lot of men struggled with it because your work is your identity and so forth, right? And so now women are looking at retirement differently. I believe if we're light workers here, we're not going to be happy with putting on the fluffy slippers and watching reruns of Dallas. It's not going to cut it.
No, not at all. You're right.
Right?
Yep.
And statistically, like any of us could fall off the perch tomorrow, but statistically, even at 70, we're looking at another 20, 25 years. So we're looking at the next third of our lives.
Right. That's what I keep saying.
And I think people waste a lot of energy by thinking, oh, well, I could have done this, I should have done that. Do it now. Do it now. And I think
don't know
that's
what it is, but yeah, I want to do it, whatever it is.
yeah. So let's have a look. What should Faye be thinking about? What should Faye be doing? What should Faye be doing? What should Faye be doing? Sloppy shuffle, not a gift from the universe. Let me put that back. What should Faye be focusing on now? All right. That's oh, wow. These are interesting too. I'm not surprised, right? In the sense that interesting people have interesting cards. Okay, bang in the middle. We have the 10 of Pentacles. And so, as you know, as a tarot reader, that's often intergenerational money. But look, even as professional readers, we see Pentacles, we think money, right? And that's lazy. It's lazy tarot. Pentacles are about money, about our values, but about all our resources that aren't necessarily financial. It's about the things that make you secure, so people double back and think, oh, I need more money. That's not what makes you feel secure in the end of the day in your bed at night. It's your other values and resources that make you feel secure. Right? But there is an intergenerational element here. So tell me what you think that might be. Did you get a little inheritance? Is there one on the horizon?
No, no, that's not maybe what that means, but I feel very involved with younger people, even on Facebook. I feel very involved with like watching, especially, it's going to sound odd, but young Black men who are reporters or whatever, and really standing
Breaking
with them,
through.
being with them, telling them I'm standing with them, doing
Yep.
what I can to be active.
It's so important as white people in this particular window of time to stand by it. So, because let me tell you, Australia does not have a pretty history.
No.
It does not have a pretty history. Okay, so back to this card. I just wanted to eliminate that option. I think it's screaming about values, right? Also, Pentacles rules the body, and you have completed a 10 cycle here with your body. That journey with your body is worth gold, literally.
That's
Yeah.
true. I thought of it. Yeah, it's true.
Got your health.
Yeah. There's no price you can put on it. And here you come up again. Remember, I just said Queen of Wands, like the Queen of Pentacles, practical queen. A lot of nurses and teachers are Queen of Pentacles, right? And in a way, you've got a fusion. What I'm getting overall is you need to teach about your story. You need to teach about the body because people don't get it.
Yeah.
They spend a lot of money dressing up the body, having the liposuction, having the fake tits, having the thing, or neglecting their bodies. We have a really unhealthy relationship with the bodies, right?
It's true. Yeah.
Radically unhealthy. I mean, literally unhealthy in terms of what the average American eats. I could not believe when I was in the States in the 70s, like Australia was a backwater, but in terms of food, now it's a gourmet paradise, but it certainly wasn't then. But I was shocked. I could not get a salad in America for love or money.
Wow.
And I remember one time, I mean, the plates were like this,
I know.
these huge portions. And I thought, where are the other 6 people? Do you mean one person is going to eat this shit? Excuse my language.
Yeah,
Because
like
it wasn't food.
I can take it home and keep eating it for days.
I know. But in those days, it really wasn't even food.
Yeah.
It was so processed, I couldn't recognize it. I was a farm girl. I couldn't recognize what was on that plate. And I'll never forget one time I was in a roadside diner somewhere, and the waitress said, "Do you want potatoes with that?" And I said, it was before fries were everywhere. "Do you want potatoes?" And I said, "Yeah." And she pulled out a can of Dairy Whip out of her apron and went,
Wow. Wow.
I was gobsmacked.
Yeah.
I was totally speechless, and a country that ran on coffee, and there was that stuff that sits on the stove for 2 days that's muddy water that tasted like hell. I thought,
Yeah.
are you kidding me? So I think what I'm saying all that for is America, just like, because we've caught up. Now the average kid just lives on processed food and, we've now got obese children. Australians used to be skinny little kids swimming and jumping, you know how it was. Now kids are obese at 3 and 4 and 5, right? So I'm not pointing fingers. We've gone down exactly the same track.
Yeah.
My point is this. You have some really valuable information to help people connect their souls and their minds with their body and what that can achieve.
Ooh, did you write that down? Ooh, that's good. Connecting.
So your role is to point out the connection
Yeah.
between the mind, the soul, and the body, because people are very disconnected.
It's very true. It's very true.
Yeah. Now, this spread's called a rose spread, and the next 2 cards are about the past. So we come here again. Okay.
No, man, so much.
Yeah. Right. So I just had to say that before I told you what it was about, right? That's in
Huge
the
in my life.
past.
Yep.
Right. And then past attitudes That's what you experienced in the past.
Yeah.
This is past attitudes. The hangman, oh, I'd like to save the world, but I can't today. Right. You know?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, always something in the way, holding it up. You know, right. And as you know, the halo and the new perspective. But here's the thing. And as far as I know, I'm the only reader that harps on about this, but gradually I think it'll catch on. There's a third aspect to the hangman. Now, if you look at this image, as you know from it, he's not being tortured, right? He's quite relaxed. And if you travel in the UK, if you go to any country that has forests, like anywhere in Europe or anywhere, or the Amazon for that matter, people will have gods of the forest, right? Pagan gods of the forest. It's always been the case since humans first drew breath. And in the UK, that became Pan, you know, the Pied Piper, and the Green Man.
Yep.
They used to call him the Green Man. And to this day, there's 50 pubs called the Green Man if you go around the country. Now, what they've found in the last 10 years, they keep turning up what they call the bog bodies. Bodies they're finding in bogland.
Yeah, we're
Right.
very interested in that. So we watch a
Yeah,
lot.
it's fascinating, isn't it?
It is.
Because they're so well preserved. These are Bronze Age bodies, so that's what, 3,500 years ago and stuff.
Amazing.
And they're finding them in Ireland, in Denmark, and they're amazingly well preserved because of the peat. And they have been trying to work out, archaeologists and stuff, who are these people? And some, it would appear, they've been criminals and they've had their hands tied behind their back and their throats cut and they've been bad boys. But others they found, when they look at the hands, these are the hands of aristocrats. They've never done a day's work in their life, right? So they're thinking, how come he met this death, right? And it's because back in the Bronze Age, there were human sacrifices, and some people volunteered to be the sacrifice. Because if you sincerely believe, just like a jihadist today, if you sincerely believe you are going to paradise and you're going to be met by the 72 virgins, it's not that hard to become a suicide bomber. You're taking a shortcut to heaven, right? Now, it seems warped to us, but that person sincerely believes that thing. That's my point. And it's the same here. A lot of them are seeming to be the willing sacrifice. So I had to tell you that whole story to get to my point. Willing sacrifice is all the things we do for our own kids or our nieces and nephews. It's what we do for our aging parents. Willing sacrifice. So it's like you probably weren't aware as you were suffering so much physically, but your soul was aware that you were a willing sacrifice for that experience.
Oh my God, are you right? You are that card is so correct and it is so me.
Yeah.
I am just.
Your soul knew what was going on, even though you, Faye, were going, why was I dealt this hand? You know, why me? You know.
Amazing, isn't it?
And you were seeing it.
I just got goosebumps
Yeah.
all over. So yeah, it's amazing. I never thought of it that way. Yeah.
Right? And you had to go through all that.
I did.
To learn and to be at the place you are now, which, bless you, you want to share.
Yes.
Right?
Exactly.
So now we come to the juicy bits. The Six of Wands, the card of victory. You'll be very successful in this work. Right?
Wow.
The advice from the universe is the Lovers. How gorgeous. So there's teamwork here. There's teamwork here in a big way.
Hmm.
Right?
Do you
Okay,
think the
gorgeous.
universe will bring me the team?
Sorry?
Will the universe bring me the team?
Oh, absolutely. And I think it starts right in your own home, but you'll bring people together. You will bring people
Wow.
together. So they might be co-workers in a clinic. You know, you do the sort of work you do, someone else does Reiki, someone else does crystal healing or whatever.
Mhm.
It might be literally sharing a practice, or in the time of COVID and everything else, you might be doing it online, but nonetheless doing it. So keep your feelers out, keep your
Mhm.
eyes open for people who you are attracted to and you like the work they're doing, because I think it's stronger for you to work in a team.
Yeah. That's about
Okay.
the most exciting news I've ever had.
That's great.
Now may it be so. And it will.
Absolutely. How gorgeous.
She
All right. So
she
let's
said,
see if,
just a
sorry.
minute, Jill said, what is the work again? But I think it's mostly like my tarot reading or my chakra cleansing or the stuff that I do to lead people through. There's going to be coming more of that. And I'll be
I
working
think it's a
with other
mix.
people.
I think it's a mix. So I'll do another little spread for you about the nature of the work. Because you know how tarot goes, we were asking about that, but it says you can't have that till you know this story. So it was telling all that background story. And I think we need another lot of cards here. But my feeling is, because what I keep hearing is all of it. I keep hearing all of it. All of it.
Oh,
Okay. So phase work. What should phase work? What should phase work look like? What should phase work? Just write down the phrase spiritual spring clean.
Got
mhm.
it.
Good. Yeah. Now this is interesting. You keep getting these queens, so we know you're up there and ready to roll.
Mhm.
We've now got the Queen of Cups. This
Wow.
is my Princess Diana card,
Mhm.
Yep.
Yeah, looks like
right?
Yeah, it does.
Okay. Now, if it was a normal reading about normal things, I'd go on about the lid on the cup. This isn't about that. We're operating now on a higher level of this stuff. So this is your deep intuitive gifts, and it is literally your healing powers. She has 1 foot in the water, 1 on land. So you work with that. Right, but this, you've really upped your game, you know what I mean? And with that comes an obligation to do that work too, you know. It's good when you're in sync with your life, because
Yeah.
some people are meant to be doing things, they fight it, that's their call, everyone's got free will, but they're missing a great opportunity, right? So this is you in your Queen of Cups deep spirit mode. Things are going to happen quite quickly for you in terms of this
Mm.
work. So it's more a matter of how do you put it out there, right? And it needs lots of forums, if you like, is what I take from this card here. So there's nothing wrong with putting up a sign in a health food shop, but you've got to think bigger. And what we've all learned from COVID is this stuff can be done online. In other words, you have the whole world at your fingertips now, as well as individuals you may be working with face to face.
Mhm.
So we're looking bigger. I'd say it's a mix of your skills, but a new website or whatever, and I'm not the person to talk to about social media platforms, right? I only do YouTube, but that wouldn't have happened if I didn't have my nephew pressing the buttons to start it. I wouldn't have ever gone there. My point is,
Thank you.
you need to talk to someone younger, more tech savvy, because I don't know the difference between a blog or a vlog or a podcast I don't know that. But you need to find out all those things so you can work out what would work for you. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
For you, it might be a YouTube channel, it might be a podcast, it might be being a guest on someone else's something, but there's going to be lots of forums, and you have to keep looking for ways of putting what you are offering out there. But there's nothing wrong with local markets and festivals and things like that,
Mm-hmm.
right? They're all valid too. So really, really, really think about fresh ways to do this shouldn't cost money, right? For you. It
Yeah.
shouldn't cost money. It's a matter of doing the research. But you need a 17-year-old who can explain what's happening, right? Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Which takes us back to the next card. I think you can do great healing work with children.
Mm.
Now, my personal position is I don't read for anyone under 20, right? I think at 18 they're only parboiled, right? That's just my thing, right? Because I don't want to say to someone, your 7-year-old's really talented musically, and then find they've tied them to a piano stool for 5 years because some tarot reader said they were musical, right? You know what I mean?
Right.
I work on different things, but for you, it's very different. I think you can do wonderful healing work with children,
Mm.
even animals.
Oh, animals is better than children.
Couldn't agree more.
I don't
But
have
I
much
think
experience
this is
with
the
them.
thing. I think this is what you need to brainstorm, right? Get a legal pad, and just kick back at night and just brainstorm. Don't try and make a neat list, just ideas, different platforms. What can you offer? A key phrase, a new name, a thing. Just go for it. Don't edit, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think there's definite room for you. I mean, we all know people are mad about their animals too. So Old Soul Tarot is a lovely name. I think keep that for your tarot work. But you need probably a new name for the work that's going to cover your crystals, your healing, your cleansings, the kids, the animals. So that'll come, I think, just from brainstorming with a
Okay.
legal pad. You know what I mean?
Yep. Yep. We're good at that. We do that a lot.
Yeah, it's a good thing to do. And then the story will sort of unfold itself. The key's in the name sort of thing. So when I say a name, you want the name and then the next line.
Okay.
I'm not being very clear, but
Include the thing somehow in the name.
yeah, that tells anybody at a glance what you do.
Mm-hmm.
Like I used to call my business the Sign Wizard. So the
Yeah.
word signs was in it,
Mm-hmm.
like that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like that, and this isn't it, but it's
Right.
soul cleansing, starting fresh for the new era, or whatever you end up doing, or tuning into your or something like got a blank, I need another coffee. I think you know what I mean. So particularly for the animals one, how to connect. It's more than that. Your animals are soulmates too, I think.
Yep, I agree.
So really think about that. And you might have two, one that's more specific for animals and one that's more specific for humans. But just play with it, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And it'll come.
Wonderful, yeah.
So that's the kids. And then the final card, wonderful, the strength card.
Oh, yeah.
Totally fabulous. Totally fabulous. So you start with the Queen of Cups and you end with the strength card. So it's purring away in the ether, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's purring away there, and you just need to thin the veil.
Yeah.
Light a candle each night. That's another good thing to do, the habit of doing it. But while you're brainstorming, work out what is your mantra going to be for that candle and your business.
Yeah.
Right. So you want that phrase, may my business flourish and may people benefit. When in doubt, keep it simple.
Yeah.
Okay, but just play with that too. And then you're going to get a dedicated new candle holder, get a pile of the tea lights, and every night you just take that moment. May I be guided in this. May people benefit from this.
I love
May
it.
it flourish.
Love it. Yeah.
Simple, really simple and pure. Because you've got all the skill set.
It's true. That is true.
Right? That's not the issue. The issue is putting it out there.
Yes.
But don't be shy of something like this, because there's nothing to stop you doing Skype sessions for healings or for anything. This is how we are now. So you can be talking to Holland or New Zealand or anywhere. We've all got the whole world now.
I never just got into this. This is incredible.
Yeah.
Very exciting. Yeah.
Yeah.
No idea.
I'm merely opening the door. It's all there for you, to have. But just think outside of America, the whole world is there. So you just need the fabulous phrase. You know what I mean? That tells people very quickly what you do.
Yep.
Okay. And crystal healing and cleansing is always popular. So, and needed.
It is.
So, we'll go there. Now, because we started early and I didn't have my second cup, just give me a minute. I'm going to slug another coffee into a cup and we'll start the past lives.
What time is it there?
It's 10 in the morning.
Oh, okay.
Saturday.
Saturday. That's hard to believe, isn't it? I know she's always saying she's a.
It's so weird, isn't it? Isn't it weird?
Yeah, it is.
Just give me a minute.
Man, this is exciting.
Mm-hmm.
Dial in. Light a candle at nighttime.
Yeah.
It's my mantra. Oh yeah, okay. Focus on that. That'll help me.
Do you want some water?
No, I'm too excited to have anything. Okay, yeah, that really is a sharp one.
She's gonna be over there.
email computers.
I'm back. Oh, that's better. What did we do before coffee?
I know. It's why I wake up in the morning.
I know, that's
I'm
right.
not even hungry, just want my coffee.
Yeah, it's okay. All right, so now we start the fun bit. Okay, we're going to move to the past lives now. So anything you're particularly interested in, or we just go in cold and ask for a relevant past life?
Well, there is something that I have been interested in. You're the first person that I have ever seen about this. And I may never see another one, but I wanted to talk about it. When I was very little and living in Nutterville, which is where I'm from, and I really had very little. When I was like 5 to 7, I had this recurring fantasy that I would go to sleep with, and that is I would be gathering together all of the presidents and the kings of the world into one room, locking the door, and not opening that door until they learned how to relate with peace to each other and bring the world to peace. That's
How
what
extraordinary is that for a 5-year-old?
I know. And of course, I forgot about that, and nobody
Oh,
was
I'm getting
interested
goosebumps.
in a. I know, but I didn't think about it past those years, but that was just jammed into my fantasies of a little girl. And then it went from that into blossoming into someone who cared deeply about the Holocaust. That was my next really big thing. I have always felt, so I think there's something to do with those two things in my past that
Yeah.
and I am wondering if I've done what I'm wondering if anybody back there in me knows anything or if I've done what I'm
I
supposed to do.
tell you what, too, I'm getting a lot of Jewish past lives come through.
Wow.
I know, I'm getting a lot of Civil War and a lot of contemporary Jewish in the sense of the Holocaust. Isn't it amazing? Because I think when you have mass death like that.
Yeah. One time I almost saw in my vision in my head, and I don't get many of these. I mean, I compared to you and the other ones, I get nothing. But I did see a little girl with her hands tied, and she was in distress. And I wondered a lot if that could have been me back then in those days, because it was so poignant and obvious.
Yeah. I'll just say before we start, I'll share a bit of my story with you. My brother is in his 80s and I'm 60s, so he was a war baby. And even though I'm much, much younger than him, the family was still very affected. My father fought in New Guinea and he was a physical wreck when he got back. So from the age of 10, I spent every day in the war hospital where I lived for 5 years, every day for 5 years. And it was my job to roll 400 cigarettes a day. This is a bit of social history, right?
Wow.
No one thought it was weird to ask the 10-year-old that the men would then smoke in bed. Now, a lot of those men had been in concentration camps in Burma and in Changi. Some had had their voice boxes cut out by the Japanese. And you know,
God.
the things I saw, those men came back weighing 5 stone. Right? Now, that seared into my brain and my soul. And I remember my parents saying when a Jewish family moved, the only Jewish family moved to the community, they said they had a very bad war. After what I'd seen, you know what I mean? I knew it had to be horrendous. And so to this day, every time I'm in Europe, I go to every synagogue.
Wow.
And I went to Dakar too. I feel really bonded, not in terms of my past life, but it's very real to me is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then I lived in Bondi for years, which was a very Jewish suburb.
Yeah.
So my kids grew up with Jewish kids, and so. Okay, but we may not go there. Spirit will take us there if we want, but we'll just see where we end up having
Sure.
settled. Okay. All right. Can we please access a past life for Faye? Please access a past life. Now, I'll just put these out and then I'll explain what I'm doing. Okay, now, how I do this, the first thing is, it is not a past life regression.
Yeah.
Right? If you're dealing with history, people have very complicated lives and pain and suffering. I don't think there's any need to experience that to get it. We can learn just as much from the stories. So this is not a regression. We will find out the story. Now, what I do, and I've just done it, I pull 6 or 8 cards that gives us the germ of a story, just the dynamic of a story. But we don't know where we are yet, and we don't know when we are. So I don't spend much time on the cards at that point. We go to the pendulum and we work out what country we're in and what era we're in. When we know that, I go back and read those cards.
Wow. It's
Do you
fascinating.
see what I mean?
Just, yeah.
Because it's going to be really different where we end up. So there's no point. I just get them out to start the process because, you know, everyone would love to be the Queen of Sheba and no one wants to be a chimney sweep in Glasgow in the 20s, right? You know, so life can be very different. Okay. So what I've got the 5 of Cups, the loss and disappointment. I've got the 4 of Wands, the wedding card. I've got the King of Pentacles. I've got the 7 of Pentacles, evaluation. The Ace of Wands, the Queen of Cups, and the Knight of Cups. So we're going to stop, and the Knight of Cups.
Nine of Cups. Okay.
Knight.
Knight of Cups.
Now, Knight of Cups. Don't worry, when I read them, I'll hold them all up and stuff. But that's sort of the place to stop until we catch up with what that story means, and then we'll do more. Yeah?
Yep.
Okay. Now I need you there to help me when we get to the math, please. But first of all, we need to find out a country or a continent. Do you want to take a guess anywhere to start? It doesn't mean we'll end up there. Let's just say no. We'll just start. Okay. Did this life for Faye start in Europe? Did this start in Europe? Yes. Okay. Yeah. Was this in France? Was this in France? No. Was it in Spain? Was it in Spain? Yes. Okay, we're off to Spain. We've got to remember too, when we do this stuff, depending what era we end up in, all these countries were different from how we know them now. Same with Asia and stuff. I don't think Italy was even Italy till 1860 or something, right? Oh. They were these little warring states, you know, that But for this work, we understand the country as we understand it today. So do you see what I mean? We're looking at Spain as we would recognise it on the map today.
Sure.
Yeah. Okay. So now we need era. What I do is we go back till I get a century. When we get a century, I go for a decade. When I get a decade, we go for a birth year. Right? So let's start. So we're in 21, but we'll use 20 because it's easier for the math. So was this 1920 to 2020? No. Was this 1820 to 1920? No. Was Faye born 1720 to 1820? No. Was Faye born 1620 to 1720? Yes, 1620 to 1720. Thank you. No. Was Faye born 1620 to 1630? Yes, again. So 1620 to 1630, yeah. Was Faye born in 1620? No. Was Faye born in 1621? Yes, 1621. Now, underline that, please, Bill, asterisk, because I'm going to keep saying, what was the birth year? What was the birth year? Okay, and that's the one we want. Okay, let me have a gulp of coffee. Now, gender. Was Faye male or female in this life in Spain? Female.
The female.
Okay, now with these, these readings, unless something screams childhood at me, and it isn't in this, I like to go to about the age of 14, 15, because that's when people were adult in those days. You know, they were getting married, they'd been working for 5 years already, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
So let's do the math. What was the year when Faye was 15?
36.
1636. Yeah.
1636. Okay, write that down, please.
1630. Oh, yeah, 1636.
Yep, good. Now, we need to know what social class you belong to, because everything's going to be different. If you're rich or you're poor or you're in between, right? Okay. Was Faye born to a rich family? Was Faye born to a rich family? Yes. Okay. All right. Now, let's go back to our story here. It's kind of weird that it starts with the disappointment card in that sense, right?
Mhm.
So for me, if we're talking about a 15-year-old, and just one, it's sort of, particularly a rich girl, probably an aristocratic girl, you would have had quite a good education for the era, in the sense you would have been privately tutored, probably in Latin and Greek, you know, and this and that. So why are you disappointed? The answer is in the next card. Your parents want to marry you off.
Mhm.
You're at marriageable age, right? this guy's wealthy, which is why the aristocracy always, had arranged marriages, right? And you're evaluating that and going, I don't care how rich he is. I don't want to marry him. Don't make me marry him. Right?
So I would have been the same soul back then that I am now.
Do we see a pattern already?
Yeah.
Then the parents come in with the Fred Flintstone Ace of Wands and insist that you marry this man, particularly your mother, because the King and Queen of Cups can be the parents, and in this case, your mother says, this is your duty, this is your destiny, you must marry this man. I won't hear anything about it. So she really drove it. In that sense, she was not an ally, right? She was conforming. You can't judge people out of their own era, okay, right? She was, if you'd asked her, she would say, this is the best thing for my daughter. So we can't be judgmental. But you hated it. And why did you hate it? Because you were actually in love with the young spunk.
That sounds like me.
Right? They want you to marry the King of Pentacles and you want to run away with the young spunk. So let's see what happens here. I love these readings. So what happens? Oh my word. We sort of are looking for these deep and spiritual things in these things, and it often turns out to be things that we're very familiar with.
Yeah.
So what's
That
the
is
next?
so me right there.
So what's the next installment? Oh, I just got a flash. I rarely get actual images. I usually hear things. But it happens a bit more when I'm doing these readings. I think it doesn't happen so much if I'm on YouTube because A, I think it's public, and B, I'm wondering what buttons to push. So, whereas with these, I'm more relaxed. I just got a completely clear flash of him at the altar.
Which one?
The one you're supposed to marry at the
Ooh,
altar.
the one
And
that I was
everyone's
in love with.
going, where is she? Where is she? So let's find the next installment.
Yeah.
Ah,
The young one. She said I was going to marry the young one's at the altar waiting.
no, you haven't got there yet. You're betrothed to the King of Pentacles. You want to run away, but you're betrothed. The date's set. They're all gathered.
But which one is at the altar?
The King of Pentacles, the
Oh, the
old man
pink one.
waiting for
Oh,
his beautiful young bride.
Oh, I see.
Right. And he had a long wait because you'd been secretly planning to run away over the waters.
Both of them. Wow.
Yeah. So he's left there. Things happen very, very, very quickly. Your parents are furious. This is a major scandal, right? This is a big deal. You're not a fisherman's daughter. You know what I mean?
Yes.
This is a huge deal. And you had to go into hiding. I don't think you're with the young spunk at this point. This is you just running away from the marriage, right? And you had to go into hiding. Some women protected you.
Wow.
I don't know if they were relatives or... Oh, no, they weren't. They were that weird status. They were servants, but they were aristocratic women in their own right, like maids in waiting type thing. So we're not talking the scullery maid here, right? I think these were, very aristocratic women who were
Very
technically your
educated.
servants.
Yeah.
who smuggled you out. They took enormous risk with their lives. It's all very well for you to say, I don't want to marry him and stamp your little feet, but they risked their lives for you.
Wow.
Right? And then the Queen of Swords. I think she is, I think they were in a bit of a panic by this stage because they were quite young too, not as young as you, but they'd only be in their 20s. And I think they conceived this plan to smuggle you out, but they hadn't got to the next stage of the plan. And I think they're beginning to panic, right? The Queen of Swords, I think, is an older woman they all go to and go, what do we do now? What do we do now? Right? So what do you do now? Let me have a look. This was a very big deal.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wow.
What happened then? Oh, okay. Just okay. These next three cards are what I call bridging cards. In other words, they connect that part of the story with the next part of the story. So they look fine, right? But, okay, so the next stage, you're in hiding, you go to the senior woman, she supports you, and you get to meet up with the beloved again, the young spunk, right? Everything looks rosy for a while, like you've moved, you're somewhere else. You're 15, 16, you think everything's possible, you know what I mean? We'll run away to Italy or France or Greece or something and we'll get married and live happily ever after. You've got enough money to make the run. Here's the 9 of Cups. Right, because I think that's what the three women were about. I think they'd smuggled a few jewels, a few coins, a few things, which to you seemed like plenty, but when you think of the lifestyle you were used to, it wouldn't last long. So at that stage, everything looks rosy, and juggling it all and the manipulation to pull all this off. I think you were a bit careless with other people's emotions in the sense of people were running these huge risks for you, and your attitude sort of was, well, of course they should. I'm in love with Miguel, and I just want to be there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, short-sighted. Yeah.
The Great Gatsby starts with that famous line, Tom and Daisy were careless people, right? And that's the vibe. A, because you're young, but you're quite a spoiled, aristocratic girl, right? And you were a bit careless, which led to boom.
Ooh.
And you were discovered and hauled back. Right? Literally kicking and screaming. But then you get the judgment card being called. Now, being called to what, by what happens then? What happens then? Oh, okay. I think, yeah, a compromise is made. Just let me digest this. Okay. All right, you drag back to
What?
the villa or wherever.
Okay. Oh, trade back. Okay. Oh.
You're totally miserable and traumatized and upset and but you keep you sort of keep at it. You don't toe the line and don't say, I'm terribly sorry, mother and father, or anything. You keep going. I cannot do this. I will not marry this man, right? You're still fighting, I think, with this.
And that again is the same soul. That is really me. I mean, I will not submit myself if something is horrible for me. I will not. I will
No,
die.
good on you. Well, it's certainly an element of this story because it's hard for us to think of how restrictive the lives were in
Yeah.
those days.
Yeah.
In fact, the rich had very strict life, particularly for the girls.
Yeah.
You know. Okay, so your parents realise they have to come to a compromise about this. Now, then comes, this is very interesting, I think, the magician card.
Mm.
And I think on some level, see, this was a highly superstitious, highly religious era, right? I don't think we're at the Inquisition stage, but just about. I mean, they were hyper religious, and at the same time,
Yeah.
they, like every generation, were still interested in the occult, and everyone went to mass and then went to see Marie Laveau in New Orleans, and it was the same in Spain at this time, right?
Mm-hmm.
So this is a high-powered shaman stroke witch type figure, right? That was actually consulted, I think, not just by you, but by your parents. What are we going to do? We've got this wayward girl, right? This person, the magician, surprisingly and horrifyingly to your parents, here's the King of Wands, says, you must let her go. You cannot force her to do this. I think they were worried you'd actually top yourself if they made you marry him. I'm sure that was one of your threats, right? If you make me do this, you will be very sorry. So an older man, possibly an uncle, possibly a priest type figure in a way, brokered this deal of saying you cannot force her to do this, or you shouldn't force her to do this, which again, someone stepping out of their role for you, you know what I mean? And representing a balance. We've got to come to some sort of agreement or balance. There's no way they were going to let you marry the young spunk because he was below you in class, but they had to come to some sort of agreement. And that was the tremendous thing. If you didn't marry the King of Pentacles, the deal was, and this was face-saving for the family, you would go into a convent. Now, convents were very different from each other, right? So some convents, the nuns were brutalized and scrubbing sandstone floors and, praying every 3 hours and, just have very hard lives ruled with an iron fist by the abbess and stuff. Others were learning monasteries and stuff where there was high learning, and others were healing monasteries with the nuns. And I think that's what the magician advocated with the King of Wands and said she won't just go to any convent. Are you mad? She's just as likely to kill herself there as she is anywhere else. You cannot send her to a strict convent. And so the deal was struck that you went to a healing convent. You would have been dealing with herbs. You would have been dealing with alchemy at the time, which is why the magician knew all about it, right? And it would have been quite fascinating.
Yeah.
And preferable. And you loved it and embraced it.
I would have. That is so
Yeah.
neat. That is, and even the drama in there is so neat. It is so, wow.
Yeah.
That's incredible. Just incredible that the same
Wow.
soul kind of pulled through till now.
Yeah. 400 years later or 500 or whatever it is, that these patterns
Yeah,
are absolutely amazing to
yeah,
me.
yeah.
So have a look at Spain in that era. Sorry?
Oh, I was gonna say, just as a parallel now, she was married for 30 years to an older man, 20 years
Yeah,
older than
20
her.
years older. And then
Ah,
turned
there you
out to
do.
be completely mentally ill and was hearing from the Lord Jesus Christ. And I had to
Oh,
run from
God.
him and go to a shelter for abused and battered women for 8 weeks and then make my life completely
But that's
over.
almost like a
It is. It's
repetitive
like
cycle.
a,
Wow. Wow. Isn't that amazing?
yeah, I don't like it, except I've broken it both times and I've broken it.
Yeah, exactly. And hopefully you won't have to do it again. You've proved your point
Right,
now. You
right.
can get
I'm
out
done.
of this stuff. Oh, isn't that really
Oh,
extraordinary?
it's
I mean,
really something. It's just, it's amazing how much that woman would have been like me. Is
yeah,
me, is
Or
me.
you
yeah,
or her.
yeah. So
Yeah.
I love that it gets validated. Okay, so just give me a minute here because I have to give the cards a really good mix. And then we've got time for one more. But don't forget to do your research too. Look up Spain in that time. You've got
Oh,
some
I will.
dates to work with. Look at what the different convents were like.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Wow. This will be fascinating.
Absolutely. Okay, I'm nearly ready. Now, the other thing I want to say before we start is you can have concurrent past lives. So, in other words, at the same time, you can have 2 or 3 Earth lives going on. Um, because to us, we're locked into this idea of linear time, but that's irrelevant to the universe. So I'm just saying that in case the same era turns up, and by telling you now, I'm not making it up if it happens. It
Uh-oh.
very rarely happens, very rarely. It actually happens, but I just wanted to say that.
Oh, we're going
Okay.
to do another one yet?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Mm. Okay. Let's have a look. Can we please access another past life for Faye? Past life. All right, you know the deal now, how it works.
Mm-hmm.
So this is just the first run at it with these cards. So it starts off, boom, 10 of Swords. It starts off with a betrayal. Then we have the High Priestess. We have the King of Cups. We have the card of Victory. And here we go. I've only pulled 7 cards and 4 are major arcana. So this is a big story.
Yeah.
I know that before we even start. So you've already had the High Priestess, and the next row is the Hierophant, Temperance, and the Hermit.
Wow.
Boom. So let's find out what this is about.
Yeah.
I love doing these because I learn a lot about history too, doing them. Okay. Can we please access another past life for Faye? Got my cards ready. Now we go to the pendulum. Now, where do we start? Let's start in. We'll kick off with the UK. Did this life happen in the UK? It's fable. No. It was Faye born in Europe? Was this life in Europe? No. Was Faye born in North America? Was Faye born in North America? Yeah, so it's a North America story. So it'll be interesting what era we end up in. Okay. Was this 1920 to 2020? No. Was this 1820 to 1920? No. Was this 1720 to 1820? Yes, so 1720 to 1820. Right, I just sort out my pendulum here. Okay. Was Faye born 1720 to 1730? Yes, 1720 to 1730. Was Faye born in 1720? No. Was Faye born in 1721? No. Was Faye born 1722? No. Was Faye born 1723? 1723. Okay, underline birth year. I'm hearing New Orleans.
Mm.
Oh, wow. Okay. I'll just check because I don't want to go down a rabbit hole. Did this life play out in New Orleans? What's this? Yep. I wanted to check because I just mentioned Marie Laveau, and sometimes it can just be an association, you know. But we're off to New Orleans. Okay. Now, rich, poor, or in between? Was Faye born to a rich family in New Orleans? Rich. No. Was Faye born to a poor family? No. So we're in between. Let me try and work out. We need to find out what your father's profession was to locate where you sat in the social thing. Was Faye's father a merchant? Was Faye's father a merchant? No. Was Faye's father a bureaucrat? Was Faye's father a bureaucrat? No. Was Faye's father an artisan? Yes. So he was a craftsman of some sort. So let's try and find out what it was. Did Faye's father work in wood? No. Did Faye's father work in stone? Yes. So he was a stonemason. Look at that. It's going crazy, the pendulum.
Wow.
Okay, now.
And we don't know if I was a boy or girl yet either.
Oh, thanks for reminding me. We'll do that right now. Was Faye male or female? And this life in New Orleans. Female.
Female.
Okay. Now, Dad's a stonemason, and in the social spectrum, you came out in the middle, which means he wasn't just a quarryman with a pick, and stuff. You weren't going to bed cold and hungry. He was an artisan of some, so not fantastically rich, but comfortable, respected, sought after. I just heard sought after. You could even look at some of the stone around New Orleans, right? Because he would have been working on churches, on great houses, Hold on. I'm hearing St. James. I don't know what the association is, but just if there's anything that you turn up in your travels about St. James. He might have done a statue or something. I don't know. I've never even heard of St. James. I don't.
Me neither.
But anyway, I'm just the vehicle. Okay. So back to our story. Now we have to work out what year you're 15. Can you do that for us, please?
Let's see, it's 23,
33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 1938.
No,
1738. 23.
1738.
33, yeah, 38. 1738.
Right. Now, there was some major betrayal because this is, you know what it's like when you're a kid? It's just a blur until something huge happens. And, do you remember? So, something major, life-changing, awful, huge, painful thing happened. And I think because it's right on top of your father. So, it was something to do with him. He left the family. Left the family. Okay, I just heard he left. I thought maybe he died, right? And no, he left. He left your mother with 6 kids. Ooh. And there was no divorce in those days as such or anything, so him leaving was dramatic. Absolutely dramatic. Because until that point you were quite comfortable, like I was saying. Suddenly, a mother with 6 kids would have been destitute, so it would have been horrifying at the time for all of you. But I'm not getting the cards of poverty, so something had to intervene. Here we have the high priestess. We're talking New Orleans. We're talking voodoo priestess country here, literally. Your mother, as a good Catholic, would have rushed off to pray to Mary. And she would have rushed off to get any help she could, anywhere she could.
Yeah.
Okay. And she was successful. This is all about your mother now, I think. Just hanging in. She was successful in that. This is the Hierophant. I think what she did was she managed to get the marriage annulled or something in the church. Otherwise, she was in shit street, right?
Yeah.
So this was a really big deal. I think she had support of the church because she would have been a good, parishioner, but she also had occult help. And I think because these are the heavyweight cards. Remember I said it was a big story? Most women in her class, which is sort of barely middle class, could not have pulled this off, right? That's why it was such a big deal. I think she actually lobbied, sorry. She went to the equivalent of the Stonemasons Guild.
Oh.
Like Templar.
Knights Templar, that kind of thing?
Yeah. Sorry, I'll just turn that off.
Masons.
The Masons, yeah.
And she said, he left me with these 6 kids. In other words, she went and embarrassed him
Ooh.
everywhere. And in those days, it would have been a small town. Normally, she'd be criticised. How dare a wife say this about her husband, right? Normally, this would not happen. But she went, and she went to the workplace. She went to the church. The Hierophants also about, courthouses and things. She really, really went all out. She felt justified. This isn't vengeance, right? She's not doing it to punish him. She's doing it for her own dignity and for her children.
She was a strong woman.
Wow. Wow. And she pulled it off. Here's Temperance. She managed to do something. So we'll find out soon if she remarried or what happened to you, but just we get that and the Hermit, Temperance and the Hermit. So to me, this is saying, because her only other option normally would have been to get remarried as quickly as she could and hope to hell someone would take on 6 kids, right? That was her only option socially at the time. And this is the Hermit. She didn't do that. She managed on her own, well, with a bit of help from the High Priestess, to pull this off. Okay, so let's see what happened to you then. Huh. Oh, that's what happened. Now that makes sense. Oh, that's interesting. Just give me a minute. What is happening here? Okay. All right. So here's the thing. This is the Three of Pentacles. And as you know from the Three of Pentacles, it's literally the wealthy couple going to the master stonemason.
Mm. So they would have gone to my dad?
So, yeah, this is what I was picking up on just before. This is the guild, the other high stonemasons saying, unless you do something or whatever, you will not work in this town again, sort of thing, right? Which was a really big deal at the time. And I think they raised money. I think literally they raised money for your mum and you kids. I think it was the stonemasons.
Wow.
Yeah. Now, then what happened? We got the hangman. So again, I don't think she rushed into a new marriage. I think you were all just relieved. I think they would have pooled their resources and said, we'll give $5 a week to her or something. Whatever it was enough to live on, Yep. They actually came to her support. It was very unusual. Not unheard of. It did happen with merchant seamen and stuff. Sometimes when they died, they'd look after the widows. But it was unusual in a case of adultery. Now, we get the hangman at that point saying that's how it went for a few years, is what I get from this, right? So you were okay. Then, this is you now, not your mum. You were very happy at some point. So you were living a bit of a life, considering where you could have all ended up. You could have all ended up in a Catholic orphanage and stuff, and you didn't. And I think you loved all your little brothers and sisters. I think you were the eldest. And I think you were happy enough with life as it was going on, but you're starting to get itchy feet. Here's the world. You think, you know what? I want to see a bit more of the world. Well, what does that mean for like an 18 or 20-year-old girl in the 1700s, right? You know, it's all very well to have the fantasy, but what does it mean? And you were unusual because you physically did leave. Here's the Eight of Wands,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
And the Eight of Wands, all the cups are up. So that to me is leaving by choice.
Wow. Yeah.
Very unusual.
Yeah. But then
Again,
again,
not
if the
many.
soul stays the same, it would have been me.
Yeah, isn't it amazing? And so what happened then was you were rather naive to
Yeah.
think you could go off.
Yeah.
When I say to see the world, okay, you'd be dealing with a port, people would be there from all around the world, but you were really naive because here's this, you were planning to get on a ship, but which ship? How to make that choice? You know, everyone's promising you the world because you're a young girl. Everyone wants you on their ship, okay? And the devil steps in.
Ooh.
So you make some really bad choices, you know, about
Yeah.
all of that that's going on. Then things happen quickly. Like I think someone comes to your rescue. Lots of things are happening. So, because I think you're still really young, not maybe by those standards, but I think just shy of 20. So you realize one of those gulp moments, how could I have been so stupid? Right? I've got to get out of here.
Yeah.
There's this escape theme again, right? So you managed to do a deal. I think this is what it's about, with someone. Oh, I think you were disguised as a boy, as a male, to get out of this situation. Someone helped you and the manipulation, and I think it was that to get you off this ship. I don't think the ship had even left port. I'm seeing a stationary ship, right? So I think, where's that Eight of Wands? All of this happened very quickly. It's like you decide to go on this ship on, say, on a Thursday, and it's still in dock till next week or something. All of this plays out before the ship goes anywhere. It's my feel. Right?
Yeah.
You're still in the harbour. Now you're stuck, this pretty young thing. What are you going to do? Someone helps you. The obvious way to do that is to dress you as a boy and try and get you off the ship.
Sure.
Right? So, let me just see here. Just see. So then what happens? Okay, you're so grateful that you agree to marry this guy.
That too sounds like me.
You are so relieved to go. It's like you had one life and then in a week you saw hell and went back again
Wow.
and did it all and got back out and you thought, you know what, maybe I'll just pull my head in now. And you married him. And look, the happy ever after card.
Oh, wow.
How hilarious is that? I mean, I'm
That
sure it would have been
is.
hilarious at the time. Wow. Wow, wow, wow.
And all of that drama on both of them is definitely a part of my soul. Yeah, I make these huge flops and then it somehow down the road turns into something else.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. How amazing. Oh, look, that was such fun.
Oh, that was. Oh, I'm sorry it's over, but it was so great.
Well, you've got plenty to think about and you've got plenty to research too. Look at
Yeah.
New Orleans in that era and find out what was happening and what would have happened
Yeah, on both of
you
them.
know,
And
to a single
I
mom
will
with 6
update
kids.
you in my letter form to you. And also next time we'll have you do Bill.
Yeah, totally. That'd be fun, Bill.
Yeah.
I'd love to do that. It'd be a privilege.
My
Thank you.
little Polak lover. And I
Yeah.
don't know how this gets paid. I know you said something on that thing about going to something and doing something.
PayPal. It's
I,
PayPal.
I don't not know how to do that without a receipt. Can you send me a receipt? Or an
No, see
invoice?
how it works. I only do PayPal,
Okay,
right?
yeah, I can do PayPal. I have PayPal. That's how I get
Okay.
paid too. I just don't know how to do it the other way.
Yeah. So with PayPal, have you still got those notes I sent?
Yeah.
Okay, it has the PayPal link there.
Oh, okay, okay. I will do that.
Okay, so you just go to PayPal and the link, or even in your own PayPal, you might be able to put Pay Lina
Oh, yeah, I
Rodriguez.
can do it that way. I could maybe do it,
Yeah,
figure out that way.
yeah,
I've never paid it, but I know I could.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
So, just do that. I'm sure you'll be fine. You'll work it out. But you pay in US dollars.
yeah,
Don't try and pay Australian dollars. US
no,
dollars. Yeah,
no, yeah.
that'd be great. So it's an honor system. I'll leave it in your hands.
Oh, yeah,
So
yeah. And if I don't, I'll definitely be contacting you right away with something that I can't do it, but I will trust that I can.
yeah, I think you'll be fine, right? But that link is there if you want to try the link in
No,
the notes.
I know this is is all your family members and are you, sometimes you have me worried that somebody is sick or something, but is everything okay in your life?
It's okay now, but I've had 12 years of hell.
Yeah,
So, you know,
it sounds like it.
it's
That's kind of
it's
what I'm
okay now.
gleaning
Yeah.
the bits and crumbs and it,
Yeah. And I'd do this work while I was with them in intensive care and, the whole thing, just kidding. So, no, it's good now.
yeah.
So you two take care. It was a delight to meet you. Don't forget, you've got to sit down with the legal pad, glass of
Yep,
wine,
yep. I'm so excited.
just free form.
I am so excited. You've just like given me an adrenaline boost in my whole body here.
It's great. I think crystal healings online for your pets would go a treat.
Ooh, okay.
So you need to think through, just write that down. Because I just saw a whole thing of it. So you would say to people, send me a photo of your pet. You privately do some work for that, work out which crystals or whatever, that's your spiritual work. Then you say, you have a meeting like this. You could do it via email, but I think face to face is good.
Yeah.
But offer both. You can do it by email, but you could do this. And then you give them the reading of what you've done for their pet and the crystals.
I have to say the thing that I probably love to do the most, and I'm working with a young girl on this who's a crack addict, is I'm helping her get off of her crack. And she's 5 months sober. And this is one of the most rewarding jobs I've ever had. I feel that the universe speaks right straight through me on what she needs.
You are
to
meant
hear.
to be working with young people, and that would be brilliant.
Yeah, that's what I want
Absolutely
to do more.
brilliant work. But maybe the pets can subsidize the other work or
Yeah,
whatever.
that
My
would be
thing
fun.
is cast the net wide at the beginning and then work out where the interest is and where things, because you can often do that. You have one line of work that subsidizes the other line
Yeah.
of work.
I really love every single week. And she's got a motto, and I keep telling her it's not that, because this has got to be the universe working through us. But she always says, what would Faye do in this case? What would
That's brilliant.
It's so sweet. It's so sweet.
That is sweet. And what an amazing thing to be able to offer the modern world.
Yeah.
So it's a matter of finding out how to put you out there,
Yeah. And you've
Yeah.
given me the impetus with all the cards that say that is what I'm supposed to be doing. I just have to
Absolutely.
figure it out what to
And
do.
not one thing. You're meant to be doing a few things. And then in a year or two, you might go, well, I'm exhausted by that. I'm going to concentrate on this, or I'm loving that more.
Yeah.
I'm just going to go there, whatever. But
Yeah.
at this stage, cast the net. You've got a lot of skills.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'm seeing that now better than I did an hour and a half ago.
That's fantastic.
And I'm also seeing that my true nature, my spirit has remained probably the same throughout all of the times. And it's been vibrant and difficult and hard and dramatic. And I wish
Yeah.
I could have one of those little lives where they just kind of have the same, and they're my family is like that. They marry the same, they marry the boy next door,
Yeah.
they all stay in the same mile, just and I just can't.
No, and you know what? You don't really want it.
No, obviously I don't, or I'd have it. I would have married Glenn Shipring, you know.
Well, you take care.
Yeah. Love you. I always love you. You've been my
Yeah, love
host.
to you guys. And say ciao to Bill for me.
Oh, I will. He's just across the room.
Bye.
Take
Thanks, Bill.
care.
Yeah, he'll do
Bye
next.
now, Bill.
Bye-bye.
Ciao.
Bye.